Trent from Bacala.
And I'm Megan from Loring Mill.
And this is Student Worship Announcements.
Viral edition.
All right, guys, don't forget, we still got camp coming up, April 21st through the 26th, and we are still doing our incentives. Now, don't worry about if camp is going to get canceled or anything, because if it does, you will get your full 100% refund back. We have been guaranteed that will happen. So, don't forget to sign up so you can still get your incentives, such as like picking your bunk, riding in the party car with me, getting pizza, playing paintball, and getting an exclusive camp shirt. So don't forget to sign up for camp.
Hey guys, we really want to worship with you, so come join us on our watch party on the student worship page at 9:45 on Sunday. We're really excited to worship with you.
We have another Bible study that just started this Monday, but don't be discouraged. You can still join us. So check out our Facebook page and Instagram to get the information and come and join Joe, Beth, Josh, and Matt for that Bible discussion. Hey students, if the stream wasn't enough for you, come and join us over there at the Bacala Student Ministry page at 6 p.m. for Zoom calls. We love to see you, hang out, see how your week went, and get a little Bible discussion. So we hope to see you there.
Hey, and now is the time for worship. We ask that you join us, that you stand, lift your hands, whatever it may be. Join us as we have a time of worship together. And also send us a picture. Let us see you worshiping with us this evening.
Walking around these walls, I thought by now they'd fall, but you have never failed me yet.
What's up, guys? It's week 4 of live streaming to you, and we are here today to talk to you about something that we all need by now, because with week 4 of quarantine, we need
toilet paper.
Close. Patience. Oh, man. It's been 4 weeks, and so honestly, let's take a moment and be honest. How's it going, guys?
It's going. It's going.
That's delirium
No,
right
seriously.
there.
The first week was really hard. Like patience, trying to figure out like high school homework and elementary school homework and 4th grade math and the way they do things. I am not smarter than a 4th grader because that's just annoying, and why they do it that way is dumb. So I'm just saying. But trying to get in the groove of everybody to be on the right schedule, and then my husband has all these meetings and Zooms and still has to work, and then I'm working, and so like patience. It was very thin. Very, very thin.
Okay, so for me, I think that in a normal weekly routine, there's a lot of things that I'm having to do now that I didn't have to do back then, like record worship or other things like that. More digital than in person, and that takes a lot of patience to comb through footage and matching up audio, and then mixing and mastering that audio, and just doing things that we can be digital. I feel like that takes some patience, and sometimes you just want to just breeze through it, because I'm more creative to a sense when it comes to things like this, so I don't want to do all of the minuscule things that you have to do in order to get things done. So that can cause me to get a little, up in arms every now and then, having to worry about the little stuff and getting it all, perfected.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just trying to figure out how to do ministry in general and have students engage and respond and make sure that we're ministering to parents and everybody else and just making sure it's happening. It is taking a lot of patience, because it's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of, we're going to throw this mud against the wall and see if it sticks. And there's a lot that we've thrown, that has stuck, but there are some things that we've thrown and it was like, yep, not doing that one again. But there are some things that we're trying where it's just we're going to have patience as we see how they play out and stuff. But let's take a second and think past our quarantine days. Like, in the past, when is a time where we struggled with patience? What did that look like?
Well, most of you guys don't know my little guy. He's 10. He's not really little anymore. But since day one, I've had to have a lot of patience. Riley was born a very different person. And so just with anything, yelling out the bedroom window, or very most recently, he mooned somebody on base, and security forces actually had to pick him up. And guess what? My child is too young to pick up trash on the side of the road, so a parent has to do it with him if he gets in trouble again. And you talk about patience, y'all. There was no patience in this mom left inside me. Anyways, because if I'm picking up trash on the side of the road with my 10-year-old, it's just not going to be good.
So for me, probably something that caused me to be very impatient before all this, and even kind of still while this is going on, is just like this whole process that we're going through with adoption. It makes it tough for us to, you never know what's going on, and as people who want to know exactly, what's always something else that comes up. Having a lawyer for the first time who's trying to help us, like realizing that he has other clients and he can't always answer the questions that we have. Like, that's been one of those things where it's really just caused us to be very impatient, because, a lot of people, including myself, are like, we want the answers, we want the facts, we want to know what's going on. And in the legal system, sometimes it can be very drawn out. It can take a long time. And that can cause just about anybody to be pretty impatient. So,
yeah, So I have one, but you guys got to promise not to laugh. Like you're already laughing. So, okay, I'm just going to share. She's already laughing, but it's all right. When I was in college, so I think it was my sophomore year of college. Josh, you remember Halo 2 and Halo 3 and how awesome it was? So in Crusader Court at North Greenville University, we would have LAN parties because this is before they allowed Xbox Live. Like we had to do LAN parties. Now they allow Xbox Live after we leave, jerks. But anyways, so we do all these LAN parties, and I remember Halo Reach was coming out. Do you remember when Halo Reach was coming out? And I got super excited because I loved Halo 2 and Halo 3. Like it was just so fun playing with like 12 of us in Crusader Court in different houses or housing units. And we would always yell at each other and do stupid stuff and whatnot. But Halo Reach was coming out, and I got super excited. And, I'm a college student, so I didn't have much money. So I tried to figure out a way to where I could scrounge up as much money as I could just so I could go and get it. It's the only game that I waited outside the store for so that I could have it immediately when it hit the shelves. Yep. And then I went in, I got the game, I brought it home, and I played it for an hour, and I said, this game is garbage. Why did I just waste all this money on this game? I should have waited and watched the reviews and sat there and really looked at the game before I just went out and purchased it. But no, because it was a Halo franchise game, I'm like, this game's going to be awesome. And then weeks later, all the reviews are coming out and people are like, this game is not great. This does not hold the standard of Halo and everything else. And so, like, that was a time where I really struggled with patience. And as a college student, I needed, I think it was like, $40 back then? For a game, or $50?
Yeah, I think it's still $60.
Was it $60?
Yeah, I think new releases have always been $59.99.
Dude, that's like a week and a half of eating in the stud back then. Quesadillas.
Good quesadillas, though.
really good quesadillas. But anyway, so like, if we're honest, I think all of us struggle with patience, and students, parents right now, I can imagine, are struggling with it even more so. So some areas that we see that students struggle with patience is just the fact that we live in a society that's constantly changing and there's always something new.
Yeah, for me, I remember, man, this was probably 2006, 2007, where I was patiently waiting for my acceptance packet for North Greenville to come in, because as soon as I got my North Greenville email, I could sign up for Facebook. And because when Facebook was first released, like if you didn't have a college email, you couldn't have it. So I remember starting with MySpace, like, and just like having this amazing profile with like all of the songs that I recorded that I put in my little playlist.
Did you have your top 8 friends?
Yeah, my top 8. Oh, absolutely. And then people would be like, yo, why am I not in your top 8? And I was like, because you suck, And
I couldn't do it. I only had a top 1, and it was my brother.
And then Facebook came out, and everyone's like, oh, but you can't change your background on Facebook. And you can't, add music on Facebook. And, then that slowly progressed. And I want to say that Instagram was after that. I can't really remember, but... and then just all the different trends of social medias, Vine and Snapchat. What's that old people Snapchat? Marco Polo. That's what all the old people use.
Not for old people.
And now they have like
my
TikTok,
gosh.
which interestingly enough, my wife used to give me so much grief for having a TikTok, and she just can't quit watching all these funny like pet videos and like food videos and all this other stuff. So like it's just crazy that you can see like a culture of like right now there's probably someone trying to develop the next new fad app that everyone is just going to like get connected to and have millions of users and just make ridiculous videos.
Yeah. And for students, gaming wise, especially in middle school, they had PUBG. And then once Fortnite came out, even before PUBG came to consoles, Fortnite came out and they were all like Fortnite. And then Apex Legends came out and then it was Apex Legends. And then now Warzone's out and I've seen all of them shift over to Warzone. So even with the gaming culture, it's just constantly shifting as well, one thing after another. And it's super fast too. It's really quick.
This makes me think about, I'm older than these guys, but
by 1 year.
Thank you. That's it. But, okay.
By 2 years.
Oh gosh, whatever. Anyways, when we had internet, like when I was in high school, it was like dial-up, and it was like shh.
I remember the first email my dad sent.
You've got mail.
Yeah, we called his friend up on the phone, and we're like, "We just sent you the email. Did you get it?" He's like, "Hold on, let me hang up and call you back." Because he had to hang up his phone and dial up.
Yes.
And then he wrote back and said, "Got it." And we're just like jumping up and down in the living room.
And then just as the years have changed, internet got faster. It got faster. However, internet now it's super fast. It's just like this. But when I go back to my mom's house, no, because my mom lives in the middle of nowhere. There's no stores. There's no gas station. Nothing. Her internet literally is like. It is so slow to upload a page. Like, it's not even worth your time.
You even said that slow.
Anyways, yeah. Anyways, so it's like technology and patience, and which makes me think of like kids buying. You have to have the new iPhone, right?
Yeah.
Like, and just like how that has changed for us. I mean, think about it. We used to have flip phones, y'all, and that was so cool. Bust open your phone.
Man, I had the slide phone.
Oh, see, I always wanted one of those. I wasn't the cool kid.
My first phone was a Nextel flip phone, and the colors were green and black. And you had to go to the shop and pay $5 to get an analog ringtone. My first ringtone was "Live Like You Were Dying" by Tim McGraw in analog. So it just sounded like a cheesy '80s keyboard.
But there's patience. Like, there is no way I could go back to dial-up. I mean, I don't think any of us could. We have no patience for that anymore. Now, it's like we have a glitch on our screen and we freak out.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, what's wrong with the internet? Or, I mean, I've even heard Morgan on a Wednesday night be like, Josh, what's wrong with it? Yeah. Like, we got to have it fixed, like, right now.
Well, that's because she wants the kids to watch the tablets and leave her alone.
See? I mean, hey. Anyways, yeah.
And so this reminds me, like, just hearing this, it's because we live in a culture that wants it here and now.
Absolutely.
Like, we want it right now. We don't want it later. I think fast food industry, that's their motto. However, fast food has gone backwards because you go and get fast food and they make you pull over into a parking spot. And I'm just like, this ain't fast food.
Not at Chick-fil-A.
That's true. Chick-fil-A got it moving.
Go Chick-fil-A.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's why, in my mind, like, okay, Popeye's chicken sandwich is better.
It is better, but you're not going to get the consistency that you get at Chick-fil-A. And
the service
give you, and the service
is relationships beyond just their friend groups and their parents. Like, I think a common one, especially in high school, is dating. Like, and even in middle school sometimes too. I think it's the frustrating thing where it's like, be patient, wait for the one that God has for you, and then they're like, yeah, and then 2 days later, so and so is in a relationship. It's like, you weren't listening. And that's just one way. But what are some other ways that you guys have seen students struggling with patience in personal choices?
That makes me think of being in middle school and you send the note and you're like, will you be my boyfriend or my girlfriend? And you're like, check yes or no. And then like the whole time you're like sitting there like dying because you're like ready for the note to get back to you. Did you ever? No.
No, yeah. No, but see what we did.
Oh
no, when I was in middle school, we didn't have cell phones. Well,
No,
I mean,
I didn't have
they had just released, but texting wasn't a big deal. And they were really expensive.
No, it was pagers.
Yeah,
It was pagers.
Yeah. No, but those were expensive too. We didn't have a lot of money, so we didn't have that. But I told this to someone the other day, and they looked at me like I was stupid. But what me and my friends did was we had notebooks, and so if I saw you in the hallway, I'd give you the notebook, and I'd just like write notes in that previous class to you, and then you would read them, and then you would write me. So I'd pass you in the hallway again. You'd hand me the notebook back, and then it just looked like a notebook. And then if we had to pass notes in class, we put them in the back of the highlighter, so it looked like I'm just passing you a highlighter. So it kind of felt like prison, like you're trying to find all these creative ways, like to give someone a shank or something, but it was, it was super creative, like, because teachers would say, oh, you're passing a note, give it to me. But if you put it in a notebook and it looks like you're taking notes, they never figured it out. But
pretty clever.
Yeah.
I like it.
But for me, like, because I have been working probably since I was 15, 16 years old, and at my last church, I was even the supervisor of some people. But one of the things I've noticed, especially from the generation under me, is that a lot of people want to work, or a lot of people want to get a paycheck, but they don't want to work. And no one else was hiring, and that's the only place I had to work. I'm going to be the best hamburger maker you've ever seen. Because, having a job isn't nothing if you don't have the passion for it, regardless of what it is. I know last week, we talked about how at my last job, I was just a support staff. I wasn't a pastor or I wasn't a minister. But I made sure that every day that I was the best support staff that church needed, because that's where I was at. And you have to have that passion where you're at, and just not assume that people are going to pay you just because you're there from 8 to 5.
Yeah.
One more thing I was thinking about sitting here was I had to be so patient with my mom. So my mom was raising us, and I'm sure all of our students can relate. You have to be patient with your parents. But my mom had like all these rules. I couldn't wear makeup till this. I couldn't shave my legs till this, and that was embarrassing. My mom did a bad job on that. But I couldn't date until I was this age. Like, there was all these things. I couldn't watch R-rated movies at all in her house. PG-13 movies didn't come until I was like 13. So there was like all these rules, all these different levels of things. But now, as an adult, I look back and I respect it. However, now I'm doing it to my own kid. My kid can't watch these movies, or my kid can't do this, And so I'm just like, our students, for all of you guys watching, definitely have patience with your parents, because they know something that you don't know. Like, there's value in these rules and these guidelines they give you. And every parent does it differently. But I feel like God gives the insight to that parent. Some parents homeschool, some don't. Some parents don't let their kids watch rated R movies, but some do. But I think there's like huge value in that. Like, your parents know how to take care of you. So be patient with your parents.
Yeah, and it's funny you say that, because I just remember growing up, like, I remember I would get so frustrated with my parents when I was like 18, like after I turned 18, because they still wouldn't let me do anything or let me go anywhere. So I would be like, all right, I'm going to find a job. And I'm like, all right, if I get paid $10 an hour and I work 40 hours a week and I get paid every 2 weeks, then, I'm going to have $800 every 2 weeks. And I'm going to use that $800, so that's $1,600 a month. And I can go and get an apartment somewhere, and I can live by myself, And then that $400 like very quickly becomes like barely $300 after taxes, and and you're like, I didn't know these things, and
food expenses and gas.
But now it's like, all right, I got me and my wife, we have 4 kids to take care of, we have rent, we have car bills, we have utility bills, and I'm like, man, I just want to go home, because like, think how much money I could leave in my wallet every week if I just like was at home again. And you see so much of that, it goes back to the work for the doesn't want to work but wants the paycheck. And that's kind of how it was for me, is like, it looked good, wanting to be by myself. Like, on paper I could write it down to where it would look great, but in reality, I just wasn't ready for it, even though I wanted to. And everybody wants that. Like, they say, oh, one day I'll be able to get out of this town. Like, I've heard students here say, oh, I can't wait till I get out of here. And I'm telling you, like, I used to say the same exact things. I can't wait to get out of my parents' house. I can't wait to leave this town. I can't wait to go be my own person. And every day I miss just being able to come home or go and hang out with my friends and not having to worry about paid bills, or miss my hometown where all my family live, or whatever it is. So it's like, we try so fast to move past all that, because we're impatient with it. Like, we have no patience to just settle down and enjoy. Like, we try to become adults way too fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the problem, like, if we label it the opposite of patience, is like the issue that we're running into is really it's self-gratification. Like, we want it now. We don't want it later. We want to appease our own desires and our own wants, right? And I think that's the thing there too. What's a want and what's a need? And most of the time we're trying to fulfill that want, not the need. But it's self-gratification. So what's the problem with self-gratification? What do you guys think?
It doesn't last. However, I just got these shoes, and I love them right now, but I don't know. Maybe in a month, ask me if they're still my favorite pair of shoes right now. I'm just saying.
Wants versus needs.
Totally true. It was a want. It wasn't a need. But I really do like them.
Now, sometimes the Lord does allow us to have our wants. Yeah. But anyways, what you think, Josh?
Well, I think back to kind of like your story. I remember that I too have a video game story. When it was probably 2012, for like the last 3 years before that, just hyping up this game called Destiny. Posters all in my garage. Is like, I gotta have this game. And it came out, and it was just garbage. And it still is garbage. Destiny 2 is garbage. The whole Destiny corporation